Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 1 matchup between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Big matchup coming up here in the Big Ten in Week 1. We've actually got two major Big Ten matchups in Week 1. We got Indiana and Iowa, but we also have Wisconsin and Penn State. So the Big Ten has got a couple of big matchups already coming up here in Week 1. As for this one with Indiana and Iowa, you got Indiana on one side, of course, who could quite possibly be upon their best season that we've seen in a long time. They got, of course, Michael Penix at the quarterback position. Offense looks great. The defensive side also looks really good for Indiana. So this is a Hoosier team that definitely has got some high hopes and some huge potential for this 2021 season. But first, they got to get past Iowa, which Iowa is also a team that I think could be a potential dark horse in this 2021 season. You got Spencer Petras, who is definitely a rising quarterback. He didn't have the best season in 2020, but he definitely has got some experience now heading into 2021. So very intriguing matchup for both these teams here. We're going to go ahead and get started with this preview here today. And this game will be on Saturday, September 4th. So obviously a Week 1 matchup in Iowa City. So the Hawkeyes do have the home field advantage in this matchup, which will be huge. Kinnick Stadium is always a tough place to play, and that's been proven many times in the past few years. We've seen Iowa upset some big name teams in Kinnick Stadium. So Indiana does have a tough road game for sure to start off the season. For Iowa, this will be at 2:30 p.m. Central Time. And once again, Kinnick Stadium is a brutal place to play, so this team does have an advantage when it comes to the home field. Line currently says Iowa by 3.5, so it is expected to be pretty close according to the spread. Over-under is at 45, and the ESPN FPI is given a 58% chance to Iowa to win this matchup. And I believe, both teams are also ranked extremely close to each other. I think Indiana is number 17 and Iowa is 18 in the AP poll heading into this matchup. Series history, both teams have played each other a ton. Iowa leads at 45-28. Win streak is Iowa by 3. And in the last 10 matchups, Iowa leads at 7-3 as well. So we've seen the Hawkeyes mainly dominate this series, especially in the recent decade. That being said, let's look at the stat comparison as well. Indiana last season had 26 points per game. These are your 2020 final stats. They also had 20 points allowed per game, 250 pass yards a game, and that just shows how much of an impact Michael Penix had on this team last season. And Michael Penix is an extremely talented quarterback. And I was trying to say that going into 2020, and no one really paid attention to it, but going into 2021, he is for real. He definitely looks like a very talented quarterback. His accuracy rate could definitely be improved, but overall, definitely he's got some huge upside. They had 108 rush yards a game, then 216 pass yards allowed, 155 rush yards allowed per game last season. As for the Hawkeyes, they had 22 points per game, 18 points allowed per game, so mainly we saw a lot of lower scoring matchups for Iowa last season. 197 pass yards a game, 171 rush yards, and for yards allowed, 204 passing, 146 rushing. As for some key points for this matchup, obviously Indiana is a huge Big Ten standout, or was a huge Big Ten standout in the 2020 season. I believe the Hoosiers were number 2 in the Big Ten East in 2020. So this Indiana team was knocking on the door of being the Big Ten East champion, but of course Ohio State was too good last year to beat. But they do have their star quarterback Michael Penix coming back. He is definitely a name to watch out for. I actually ranked all the Power 5 quarterbacks back a couple of weeks ago, and Michael Penix, I believe, was in the top 7. So that really shows. Michael Penix is an outstanding quarterback, and he is a big reason why Indiana is going to have a big season here in 2021. Potential run for the Big Ten East is definitely possible for this team as well as we head into 2021. As for Iowa, they were also 6-2 last year. Spencer Petras is back at the quarterback position. Defense looks pretty good for Iowa. However, the offensive side does lose a few skill players. That is something I'm a bit concerned about. But overall, the defensive side looks pretty good for Iowa. But Spencer Petras is going to have to deal with a couple of tough losses, especially in the receiving core as we head into 2021. Potential Big Ten West contender, Iowa definitely should be. Wisconsin and Minnesota are probably the favorites for me right now. But Iowa, I think, will be kind of in the background there, and potentially could cause some issues for Wisconsin and or Minnesota in winning that division. But anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and get into the prediction for this matchup. Indiana and Iowa, big matchup in the Big Ten once again, and I expect it to be very close. 27-24 is going to be my score prediction for this matchup, so I've got the Hawkeyes getting the win by 3. And the thing is about this matchup here, Indiana overall has got more talent. I think Indiana is the more talented team in this matchup. However, it's a little bit different when you're going into a week 1 environment in Iowa, in Kinnick Stadium. It's a brutal place to play, especially when you got a packed stadium in there. And for Indiana, I think the Hoosiers keep it very close throughout this entire matchup, and I think maybe they'll lead once or twice. But I think Iowa, in the end, possibly gets a last-second field goal and gets the win against Indiana at home in Iowa City. Probability, Iowa 55%. So once again, I'm pretty cautious about this pick. I think it's going to be very close. But in the end, I'm going to be going with Iowa 27-24 once again. And your halftime score is going to be 14-10. So I'm going to say it's a pretty low-scoring matchup once again, as shown by my score predictions for this matchup. But yeah, 14-10 is my score prediction for the half. So anyway, that being said, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. Once again, we got 2 Big Ten major matchups coming up here in week 1 already, which is pretty insane, but Indiana and Iowa is definitely one of them. So anyway, appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys later.